We welcome you to episode 46 of Battin and Chattin here in the Eastern Observer alongside Denis Tuohy. I'm Brandon Natale. Now, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept in on the loop on everything Eastern Observer and most importantly, Battin and Chattin. Our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download one of their best singles ever, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, Satellite Radio, and many others. Dennis, how you doing today on this fine Wednesday?
I am doing fantastic, making my long-awaited return to volleyball. I haven't played in years. Going to play
Yeah,
tonight. Slim Denny, the summer of Denny
there you go.
continues.
There you go.
It's
I like
about to begin, really. Only a few more weeks till summertime, the actual summertime.
it. Yeah, everyone says Memorial Day weekend. Actually, that's the start of summer. Did you have a good Memorial Day weekend?
Worked Saturday, 9 to 5. Worked in a different department than I usually do, so it's fun interacting with new people. People I've
Okay.
worked with for years but haven't really interacted with. That's always fun. New beginning.
Yeah, man.
Sunday I worked 6 to 2, but Sunday night, got after it. Went to a little Memorial Day house party.
Nice. Okay.
Then Memorial Day, I worked, hung out. Yesterday, I don't really know. I worked, hung out. Today, off, hung out. Tonight, gonna play. Yeah, dude, I've just been kind of hanging out.
Yeah, same. Well,
Working, hanging out, watching my Law and Order, watching my sports. Yeah, man. Like ice and water. Like ice and water.
that's great, man. That sounds like a good weekend.
How about you? I mean, we were talking off camera, but recovery going good?
Yeah, recovery's going good. As I told you, I got the stitches out, and hopefully, I can't wait there for another 2 weeks. But hopefully, I'll be able to by then. But if not, probably around my birthday. Like I said, take everything one step at a time. Recovery's, you know, everything's it's a process. So whatever doctor says, I gotta listen to the doctor. And for now, I can't wait there for another 2 weeks. But so far, everything was good in my foot, and so I can't wait till it gets better. You realize crazy how much you sometimes you don't take for granted, but it's like sometimes life throws you curveballs, and you never know what you got to deal with in life. So we gotta just take everything with a grain of salt, and I guess just keep going. I guess in a way.
Yeah.
But I still had a good Memorial Day weekend. I was low key. I went to my friends took me to Tobay Beach, and we saw the Blue Angels. We couldn't get to Jones Beach. It was crazy. Traffic
Cool.
is
Packed
traffic is
traffic.
traffic. Traffic was crazy heading to Jones Beach, so we had to get to the Robert Moses, and we ended up going on the Robert Moses and it led us to Tobay. But the Blue Angels were cool, and then I went to a graduation party Saturday night. And then Sunday, what did I do Sunday? Sunday I relaxed in the backyard with my folks and my grandma and my dog, and then hung out with my friends at night. We had a little barbecue, and then that's it. I didn't go to Flynn's Fire Island. That's not somewhere I need to be right now. Because that probably would have done some damage and would have been very high risk for me. So we're just, and I'm getting a new phone. So, yeah, I guess it was surprising. It was a good weekend. I can't complain.
Good weekend for both of us. That's good.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a good weekend as well. And now back to the grind. Everybody's probably slumped from a long weekend bender that some people have had. I would go away for Labor Day weekend. I would if I could.
I usually do.
I know
The last 2
usually
years,
go
I went to the Outer Banks.
the Outer Banks. But either way, this isn't a traveling getaway. This is the Bad and Chatting here in Eastern Observer. A lot of going on. I mean,
Yeah.
big news I feel like coming out is Angel Hernandez, one of the most famous and controversial umpires of all time, is now retiring. I think that's crazy.
Crazy that an umpire is the lead of the show.
Yeah, what do you think?
Crazy.
Now he just retired after 34 years, I think, of service in the MLB. I'm just reading up on him, Scott Shever. Let's see. Just reading an article by by Yahoo Sports that talks about Angel Hernandez. Um, said despite his reputation, the Major League Baseball's most desired umpire, Hernandez, who confirmed reports of his retirement on Monday, was supposedly a pleasant presence on the diamond. Players described him as an eager conversationalist, um, affable and outgoing, qualities that are far from given the high stakes world of big league umpiring. One current American leaguer went as far as to refer the Alfred Manglet uh, as sweetheart. Um, but the article goes on to say when news dropped Monday afternoon that he was calling it a career after 3 decades on the job, the response from the baseball fans was completely and total jubilation. And he became the face of awful officiating, the end of a reign of thousands of ball watching neutrals and causing for celebration. A different active MLBer perfectly summed up this in a dynamic. I don't think many players disliked him as a person, the players explained. He was just bad at his job. uh, and that's what the article read by Yahoo Sports by Jake Mintz, who's a senior MLB analyst. So yeah, I guess that's I seen some calls that he had, and I remember seeing the one of Kyle Schwarber, who when Josh Hader struck him out, the pitch was way obviously not a strike. You see Kyle Schwarber going nuts, and after seeing some of the calls, like this was I think he had over at least 160 missed calls.
I'm sorry, what was that? He had how many? 116 and what length of time?
Over at least 160 missed calls.
Throughout his entire career?
Yes.
That seems pretty low.
That's what I heard. Maybe it is more. That's what I've heard.
Wait, seriously? That's
maybe there's more. There's probably more, but
there's got to be more. That's very low. That's not nearly as bad as I thought.
I'm trying to find more. This man.
Listen, I'm one of those people, and people hate when I'm like this. I think referees, umpires, officials, line judges, whatever, I think they do more or less pretty good in sports. If you really think of how ridiculous it is when we get on them, like basketball, you see this a lot. Like a ball is out on somebody and they call for another guy and then they show the replay and everybody's like, what? Or like they have those stupid umpire scorecards, which I don't mind, but like the ball is still touching the black and they say, oh, it should have been a ball and they called it a strike. And it's like, really? Really? For something that close? So like I'm one of those people, like Angel Hernandez has had some horrific calls.
He said he has the article says that he hasn't umped the World Series since 2005, and he hasn't umped the League Championship Series since 2016.
Yes.
The league and those in it, the umpires union walked strong, leaving MLB no choice but to wait Hernandez out. He sued the MLB for racial discrimination in 2017, claiming due to his age and tenure, he had been promoted to crew chief and given more playoff assignments.
Continue.
The league fought back, arguing that Hernandez's lack of opportunities were a result of poor performance. According to the Wall Street Journal, at 2020, court filing by MLB lawyers described Hernandez as unsuitable to serve in a permanent leadership role and umpire in MLB's highest profile games. And that's, again, the Yahoo Sports article by Jake Mintz. According to 2018, just 13.5% of the MLB umpires identified. Okay, that's just because it's also talking about his how he's from Cuban-born, MLB raised, Latino provided for Spanish-speaking players, a relatively rare opportunity to communicate with umpires in their native tongue. According to 2018, a study from the Global Sport Matters, just 13.5% of MLB umpires identified as Hispanic, well behind the rate for MLB players. Because I guess that was a good thing. Was he showed representation of the Latino Hispanic community.
Yeah. He's somebody that like former players by and large, aside from like him calling it, like his calls, everybody says like he is like a genuinely like a really, really, really nice guy.
Yeah, that's
Like
what the article. Yeah, everyone seems he
like
seems like a
everybody
great guy. You
seems
know,
like such a nice guy.
he seems like
So
the
like
guy
I
grilling on
always
the.
felt
Yeah,
bad for him. And
he's like the guy grilling on the barbecues at the. You know.
yeah, he just
Yeah,
seems like a nice guy who's just not good. But like at the
that's
same time,
basically
too,
yeah.
like I said, okay, so on his Wikipedia, and we know he's had a lot over the last couple of years. They have incidents, right? A separate thing. So one paragraph, the earliest one is 1998, involving Mike Piazza and Braves runner Michael Tucker,
I don't know why I thought that. I just thought it might be after.
saying that basically Tucker never touched home plate. Mike Piazza tagged him, and it should have been an out. And yeah, oh well. It said after the game, Piazza said the call was the worst he had ever seen in his baseball career. Other Mets opined that Hernandez may have been in a hurry to get the game over with, so they could all start their break. It was the day before an All-Star break, and it was in extra innings. Then on August 7th, 2001, there's another one that wasn't even that bad. It was just he had like a semi-controversial call, and then former Bears defensive tackle Steve McMichael was in attendance and said over the PA system or something like that he'll have a talk with Hernandez after the game about how bad the call was. It's like that was in 2006, and let's be honest, I dump on a lot of other teams. Chicago Cubs fans in the mid 2000s, not really a good bunch. See Steve Bartman for that one. So I'm kind of in favor of him 2-0 right now. There's another one where he ejected Mariano Duncan, who was the first base coach for the Dodgers in 06. It was 2001, the Cubs incident. My bad. 2013, there's another one. 2017, there's another one. 2018, I remember this. The Yankees Red Sox, where he had 4 out of 5 plays called at first base were challenged and he got them wrong. So like he wasn't like a great umpire, but I always felt like he got way too much hate. You know, like some of them aren't that bad. And you want to hear something controversial? This might be my hottest take in the history of Battin and Chattin.
Let me hear.
I like Angel Hernandez because he brought a certain level of unpredictability to a game. Sue me. I like television. I like art. I like entertainment. And if the umpire is a part of that, c'est la vie. So be it. It is what it is. So be it. It doesn't bother me. Now, I hate reviews. Like, I wish everything got right the first time. But guess what? When we have robo umps, guess what? Players are still going to be whining. Like, I watched the NBA playoffs, and I keep saying, talking about NBA because it's on my mind, but I watched the NBA playoffs. Jason Tatum 2 nights ago, blatant foul. Blatant foul. I mean, he literally elbowed, I forgot who was guarding him. It might have been Andrew Nemhard. Blatantly elbowed him and just like shoved him to the ground. And was like, review it. And like, I was kind of mad that the commentators didn't say, like, yeah, why didn't they review that one? You know, like sarcastically with how over the top these athletes are. Me? Wrong? Like Tim Duncan's one of my favorite basketball players ever. He could stab somebody on the court and he'd still be every single time. Every single time he would do that. And then in baseball, it's the same thing. Guys get mad about a pitch that's a strike. Or a pitcher like throws a tantrum about a ball that was a strike but called a ball but wasn't far off. Like maybe it did break in to be a strike, but late. That who cares? You know. Like get over it. A lot of it. Now some of them are horrific, and it's like a foot outside of the strike zone. He's calling it a strike, or it's a foot in the strike zone. He's calling it a ball. Sure, that I get. But overall, as like people are saying, like just like rejoicing over the fact that Angel Hernandez is leaving the sport. It's like, okay. Like, do you think a lot of this is going to get fixed when we have robot umpires? No.
I think, didn't they say something about robot umpires not coming anytime soon?
Watch somebody get called out for stealing. Watch someone get called out for stealing. They will never say not to review it. They always think they got in there. They could be dead to rights, 10 feet out, and they'll be doing the whole review it.
Yeah.
Every single time. Same thing in the NFL. Same thing in the NHL. Well, not as much in the NHL.
I don't think
Same
it's much,
thing in the NBA. It's just the way it is with officials. I remember playing sports and there were some bad calls. And people would like get like whiny about it. And a lot of times it's like, yeah, it was a borderline call. And I was a horrific umpire when I played baseball. I was a horrific umpire.
I remember they,
because
I
I kept myself to a tight strike zone. And but it's little league, so kids are going to get the benefit of the doubt. So I'd like if it was just like a little bit of a ball and I got a strike, I'd be so mad going back to the dugout. I'd be talking loudly, not like cursing or anything like that, but you could tell like number 9 is pissed. To a point where like coaches of mine over the years would tell me like, get off. So like I was a total umpire. I was a diva.
I was always told to be quiet. There was
so like I was whiny as hell. I remember Matt Byrne was once like, dude, you're just outright wrong. And I said, F you. Like, we're friends. We're friends. Yeah. So I said to him, I said it like joking, was like, F you, let me be mad. He's like, okay.
I remember one time
I get it.
We were always told not to argue. And I remember one time I was hitting and the ball I hit, it was a foul tip and I struck out, but I didn't know that. I thought it was like, oh, you know, I was like, oh, wait, I hit it. He's like, yeah, but it caught it. I was like, oh, okay. And then I went back to the dugout. That was it. Quick little argument, and then that was it. I was like, oh, okay.
No, yeah. I never argued with the umpire. I was waiting to go back into the dugout to throw my tantrums.
There was one.
I never threw anything or whatever. Yeah, I was just.
It's not easy.
When I played lacrosse, I had 5 penalties all my years of playing lacrosse total on defense. 5 penalties. It's not like nothing.
Yeah, it's not easy being an umpire or just any official.
Yeah,
I feel like
and I got called for a controversial call, and my dad was friends with one of the refs. Like family friends. Like, I knew this guy my whole life, and I said to him, I was like, "Man, you know my dad 40 years. You're gonna do this to me?" And he's like, I still have to do it, especially for you, Tuohy.
Oh, okay. All right. You see that? I mean, but hey, good for the guy.
I just jogged off, and I was like, Steve, tell the family I said what's up.
I said what's up.
And then he kind of laughed a bit. He didn't even know I was playing. Like he didn't even know. He saw the last name. He's like, Tuohy, Artie's kid? I was like, yeah. He's like, no kidding. How have you guys been? I'm like, I'm doing good. So like, yeah, like every single level, you're never gonna have a ref. Well, there was one ref that we loved getting in volleyball because the guy looked like a 1980s wrestler. Oh, like a long mullet. He literally looked like Mickey Rourke.
He looked like he could have been at a Van Halen concert.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I regret not just talking about like, hey, so what's your favorite Sammy Hagar song? Because that guy totally would have given me some good calls. But yeah, like, hey, listen to any Whitesnake lately? And that guy was awesome.
Yeah.
And anytime it was wrong, like he would explain to you how you were wrong or whatever. But I had one referee, I forget the name of the guy, it might have been Randy. I don't know. In flag football. And like there are times where the guy was on and there are times where he wasn't. And my coaches who are like really nice guys were like, dude, what? So like it's just that just is the way it is at every level. We spent so much time on this. But I just feel like someone's got to be the devil's advocate. And I liked Angel Hernandez. Because you know what I liked about Angel Hernandez?
What's that?
I don't remember him having too many ejections.
You
know how much that abuse that guy took?
A lot.
On the internet, by fans, by coaches, by players. And I felt like he never ejected people.
He probably had to.
He thought he was right. He thought he was right. He
but
was wrong, but he
some of the
always thought he was
calls,
right. I
yeah.
appreciate that.
It's tough. Like I said,
Because anytime an ump or a ref gets a borderline call missed, that's when they throw out a technical. That's when they throw out an ejection every time. But if they think they're right, they won't.
It's tough, and like I said, it's not easy being an official.
So not a good ref.
I don't think I could do. I don't think I'd be a good ref. I don't think I'd be able to take the. I don't know. I mean, if you see a call, you gotta, you gotta be the. I don't know. You gotta have some thick skin. Not to say I don't have the thick skin, but I just don't want to deal with the headache of just the people.
I just don't have the patience for it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just, and I don't know. You gotta really know the game, and not to say that I don't know the game, but like you gotta. There's a lot to being a ref. You gotta know everything, and I mean everything.
Yeah. Yeah, like like weird rules, like infield fly, things like that's kind of like a judgment call or a balk. Where like Nestor Cortez got called for a balk the other day, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know, I don't see that one." It's just like, okay, but you know what? With all the antics Nestor Cortez does, if he gets called for a balk once, get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is what it is. This is more about just umpiring and officiating in general. We'll talk about other stuff too, because there's been a lot of news happening in baseball.
There's been a lot, yeah.
But the Angel Hernandez thing, man. Congratulations on retirement, buddy.
Congratulations on retirement.
But if you do see this, Angel Hernandez, I'm a fan.
Maybe we get him on.
Not the best umpire in the world, but you know what? Who cares?
Maybe we could try to get him on primetime rundown.
That would be great. I would love to interview him.
Yeah, I mean, let me see what I can. Let me see what I can do.
An umpire.
I'll let you know what I can do.
Interview with the vampire. Call it an interview with an umpire.
That's right. But there's been a lot going on. What is on your mind in the baseball world? Let me hear it.
We'll talk about current events before we talk about past events, right? I don't know if you guys saw the Negro Leagues.
I'm looking at it right now.
Are now in Major League Baseball history books. I'll save that for later, so we could kind of talk about more topical stuff, right? 8-0 Detroit beat Pittsburgh earlier today. Wow. Jeez. Game 1 of a doubleheader, and Paul Skeens is going to be taking on that red hot team later on.
Everyone loves Paul Skeens. He looks pretty good too. Let me take a look at his stats. Give me a second. Obviously, of course, everybody knows him for dating Livy Dunn, the LSU gymnastics star and TikToker. But besides that, the man is pretty good. And I think he did so good in AAA that they just like, hey, they called him up right away. Let's take a look at his stats. Because he definitely looks good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so another story out of Arlington, Texas. The Texas Rangers second baseman Marcus Semien got a day off today for the first time in more than 2 years. Wednesday, he wasn't in the lineup against the Diamondbacks, ending his streak of 349 games started. That is so rare to see nowadays, man. That is so rare to see nowadays. In any sport. Back then, back in the day, people say like, oh, they don't play games the way they used to. I hate to be that guy, but in the 70s, 60s, and 80s, those guys were all hopped up on amphetamines or PEDs or whatever. So, to see a guy play that much now, wow. I'm impressed, Marcus Semien. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
So enjoy your off day, Marcus. Maybe, I don't know, drink a pina colada in the dugout with a little umbrella in it. Have fun with it, man.
Yeah.
I can never be like a star baseball player and have an off day. Oh my God, I'd be getting a chicken bucket from Yankee Stadium, hanging out, eating my wings. They'd be like, you have to pinch it. What? Wing sauce all over me. Wait, what? Boone, you said I was off. I had 10 beers. No, I'm kidding. I crushed 10 Guinness. 10 pints. But yeah, good for him, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Some other stories.
That's insane. The Negro League story, that's pretty good. That's 3,400. That's a lot.
I'm sorry? Wait, where 3,400 what?
400 players
Oh, that are now in
in the
MLB
corporate.
records.
Yes, MLB records. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's cool, man. I'm happy. And Buck Leonard is not Buck. Well, Buck Leonard's stats are ridiculous, but you saw Josh Gibson is now the all-time leader in batting average. Have you seen this?
Do you want me to pull it up?
I'm sure it's easier for you to share the screen, but the stats this guy had are absolutely ridiculous.
That's crazy.
You see it?
Give me a second. I just see it now.
Josh Gibson.
Let's see.
Look at the career stats on this.
Oh, he.
Share your screen when you get it.
Oh my God! These stats that I'm thinking of, or that I'm looking at. That's insane. You ready?
Yes.
These are the stats?
These are his stats.
That's insane. He could definitely make a case for the Hall of Fame in a heartbeat.
Well, he's in the Hall of Fame. But now, with this whole thing, he's now the highest batting average in the history of Major League Baseball. 5 points better than Ty Cobb.
That's crazy. Wow. They didn't play a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why they were kept out of it. That and the whole, well, it's the Major League Baseball record book, not the Negro Leagues. But I don't know. I do think it's fair to have both of them in, combine the sports.
Yeah, especially with 3,400 players, they now count. They now count.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool that they did that. The MLB.
Did you see the Heritage All-Star game this weekend for the Negro Leagues?
That I did not.
Ryan Howard hit a nuke. Hit a nuke.
Who else played?
I think Ken Griffey Jr. did. I think CC Sabathia did. I don't know the actual name of it.
Okay.
Trying to pick it up. Okay, here it goes. East West Classic celebrates Negro Leagues, reminds former players what's missing today. So it's Cooperstown, New York. And Adam Jones won the home run derby. And just kind of a cool thing. Just like Jose Contreras was there. Prince Fielder, Curtis Granderson, David Price, Justin and BJ Upton. So it was cool, man.
That was pretty cool. Now, what do you think of what else is on your mind?
Well, I don't know if you saw this. The Division III World Series for college.
Ooh. Let me hear it.
A team playing in it is now, I'm trying to get up their exact name, is now in has now outlasted their actual college. A school, hold on, I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Oh my God. I just had it up on my phone. Birmingham Southern's baseball team will officially be playing longer than the school will exist. Earlier in the season, Birmingham Southern College announced it would be closing on May 31st. Baseball coach Jan Weisberg let his team know that they would be able to finish the season, but then everyone would have to go their separate ways. At the time,
That's
the
crazy.
Panthers were struggling on the field, having lost 9 of their past 14 games, but then everything changed. They had gone 19-4 since, winning its 4-team NCAA regional and then beating the national number 2 seed Denison in the super regional for the right to play in the Division III World Series. After this weekend's upset at Denison, the Panthers will now play in the World Series starting June 1st, one day after their college closes forever.
Wow.
I feel like when I've been reading through social media, like a lot of people are supportive and everyone's rooting us on, which I think is just awesome. But I feel like some people might look at it as like a sad story, but in our eyes, we're not looking at it as that. We're embracing the story. That is Hanson McGowan, who is one of their pitchers. And I think Drake LaRoche, Adam LaRoche's son, is one of the pitchers on that roster. And he obviously had a there's a whole story when he was a kid, something with Adam LaRoche and Drake LaRoche. I guess they weren't treated right in the clubhouse or something like that. And I think that's why his dad retired or something. So kind of weird. But yeah. Like, how crazy is that? It's like Bang the Drum Slowly, but which is an old baseball movie and book. I think it's a book. But in real life. And instead of it being, playing so the catcher can get the insurance money because he's dying. That's what the movie's about.
Okay.
It's like they keep on playing their school that no longer exists. Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Then they go on after that. That's the last pitch ever of that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Last at bat, last pitch, last strikeout, last home run. You know what I mean? That's
dude. If I was like at that school or an alumni from that school, I'd be going to every game. I mean, this is literally it. This is your school's legacy. That's such a weird feeling, right? You don't see that. I remember do you remember when Briarcliff closed?
Where's that?
It was in Bethpage, the college.
Really? Wait, what?
This was no, this wasn't. Your sister and my brother, their high school graduating class was the last class of Briarcliff.
In college or like 2015? Okay. Briarcliff. Oh, you talking about in Iowa?
No, it was in Bethpage, man.
Really? Maybe I'm looking it up.
On Hempstead Turnpike, the corner of Hempstead and Stewart. Do you ever see the sign that says Briarcliff with the arrow when you're going east?
Yes.
It's in front of the Walgreens. That's where it was pointing to.
What is it now?
Nothing. It's not a school. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's knowing us. Let me guess. Probably Northwell Health. But
probably.
I didn't even know that many people existed on Long Island that got sick. I didn't. I really didn't. But yeah. So kind of weird.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. But yeah, imagine if like Old Westbury shut down.
That's what I was gonna say. I remember years ago, our high school had a swim team.
Plain Edge?
Yeah. And I think they stopped. The golf team almost stopped when my sister was in high school, and her friend of hers was on the golf team and said it was a pretty gnarly time. I think it was a girl who was on the golf team too, who my sister was friends with, who told her. That's weird, man. That's weird. Not knowing what you're going to get.
Yeah, you just never know.
Being the first team would also be nerve-wracking. Old Westbury now has a volleyball team. So if I ever wanted to get my master's in education, I play. And I'm confident I can make the cuts. And that would be crazy. Like they started the semester after I left. If I had spring courses, I would have played. Way past my prime. But yeah, I would have played. Kind of like when Arvydas Sabonis went to the Portland Trailblazers. And you're like, wait a minute, this is like the Terminator, the Lithuanian Terminator that everybody was talking about in the 1980s. This is him? Guy could barely move. Oh my God, he just gave me 20 and 15? What? That's how it would have been. So could you imagine that? You're told mid-season your school's over. It's like Major League, dude. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. Yeah,
Great movie.
great movie. Yeah, but yeah, no, you never know. I would love to see you. I love to see you play volleyball. Definitely one that'll come.
Yeah. Got to get back into it.
Yeah,
Lost all the weight. Just want to be in better shape, have fun, throw a ball around.
Yeah, man. Yeah, get to it. I would love to come. I mean, like I said, if you need a volleyball player who doesn't have a gimpy foot, you know, I'd say. But in other news, I don't know if you've seen in the baseball world. I know we were talking about Paul Schemes, and he's been decent so far. It's been pretty good. The Yankees have have been red hot. They've been playing good baseball.
Yeah, they lost late last night, but who cares, man? I know it's boring. Like Aaron Judge has had 13 homers in 28 days, or 28 games, excuse me. It's just it blows my mind how good he is. And we'll get to the Ronald Acuna Jr. injury soon, but
Yes,
it just, I mean, when Aaron Judge is like this, Juan Soto is firing on all cylinders. Giancarlo Stanton has been a monster lately. Have you seen Stanton?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God. Dude, I could watch a Giancarlo Stanton home run is honestly a thing of beauty. It is one of the most satisfying things to watch in sports because he hits it and it doesn't, like, the exit velocity is ridiculous on all of them, right? It just, we saw one when we saw him play the Astros.
Yeah.
I was 4 rows off the field when I went to Yankees Astros a few weeks ago with my buddy from high school. The ball was just an orb. It looked like a comet. Just a little orb just floating. And the players didn't turn around to play it. They just knew it was gone. They just knew. He is so good. And people forget that. He's got 13 bombs in let's see how many games played this year. 49. Oh my gosh. Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
63 strikeouts to 12 walks. You know the strikeouts with him are always a problem.
Right.
We've spoken about it.
But
we know staying on the field is always a problem for Stanton.
I was going to say, like, has he been like much healthier than compared to the past couple of years?
I can't recall him missing too much time this year, but maybe he did a game or two here or a game or two there. I can't recall him having like a catastrophic injury. And of course, I'll knock on wood for that as well. But
I'll knock on wood with you. Just
you
don't want anybody hurt. You don't want anybody to get hurt in any team, any sport.
He's been phenomenal.
I wish I could say
listen, man, if they play like this in the playoffs, nobody's stopping them. Nobody. Who are you going to walk? Aaron Judge? So you can see Juan Soto? Walk those two to see who? Giancarlo Stanton? Anthony Volpe is on a 20-game hitting streak? DJ LeMahieu, one of 3 players now to have a batting title in both leagues. It's who? It's him. Luis Arias just did it, and Frank Robinson. He's batting 9th in the lineup. Jose Trevino, our defensive first catcher. Why don't we hear some of these stats? He's been ridiculous. Our defensive first catcher is batting 287 with an OPS plus, 283 with an OPS plus of 114. Thanks. It's unbelievable. Our only weakness has been third base. John Birdie's like, okay. And now we have DJ LeMahieu, 2-time batting average leader, coming in.
I mean, it's going to be tough. I'm looking at the standings right now. I'm looking at the standings right now. Who you think would, stop him?
Even John Birdie was batting 273, an OPS plus of nothing. He's a speed guy. He just bloop singles.
Yeah,
but
just looking at
God,
just looking at teams that could, possibly stop him. You got Baltimore. Baltimore's probably going to be the only really competition in that division. You look at the Red Sox; they're like one game above 500. They're like barely. I mean, I'm sure they've been playing decent, but then you got the Guardians, who they destroyed the Mets. When the Mets played them, they swept them like it was nothing. And then
they've been really good.
They have been really good. And the Mariners. So it's really, Texas is not. It's crazy because the Astros are not really anything right now. Neither. Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers, along with the Mets. The Mets have 9 blown saves this year, blown leads. Yeah, I think the Rangers have the most in May with 12. That's why I saw a stat yesterday. So, really, to me, the only competition I think the Yankees would have would be Baltimore, and then you got the Guardians. It may be the Royals. You never know, because the Royals, they got some good hitters.
Yeah, and they have some pitchers I like. Brady Singer's having a tremendous season.
My guy.
Lugo has looked good. Cole Reagans has looked good.
You told me not to take Brady Singer. You're like, hey, I don't know.
And I was wrong. Salvador Perez has found the
fountain of youth.
Yeah, the fountain of youth.
Yeah, I know. Steph Lugo is great. I remember he was great for the Mets. It was sad they weren't able to retain him, but he was more than just a bullpen guy. And it's good to see. It's good to see that he's able to get some more opportunities elsewhere. Starting, he was sad to. He said it. I remember he was sad to leave, but it was the best thing for his career, which is expand elsewhere.
Yeah, he really found a footing with the Padres, and now he's on the Royals and has looked awesome. So I'm not trying to say like, if the Yankees don't win the World Series this year, then I'm just going to flip out. But this team is something else. I didn't have this feeling last year. I certainly didn't have it the year beforehand.
Really? Not even 22?
No, because aside from Aaron Judge, the lineup was horrible. That's why I think Aaron Judge is better career than Mike Trout. I don't care what the WAR says. I don't care. I don't care about the MVP. I don't care. Him carrying that awful lineup to the ALCS in 2022, he turned a team sport into an individual game and said, "You're not beating me."
It's true. It's true. And he really did carry them. That whole season was definitely, when you think of the 22 Yankees, you think of Aaron Judge.
And now we have arguably the best right-handed hitter of the 21st century. I don't know who you would have ahead of him. Honestly, I don't. And you throw in Juan Soto. Giancarlo Stanton, when he's on, could carry a lineup better than anybody, maybe even better than Judge at times. You throw in Rizzo, who's got some of the best plate discipline in the league. Verdugo has been exactly what they needed. Just a frisky when he's hot. He's hot. When he's not, he's still playable.
Yeah, who would have thought that was the team? They actually have more of a complete lineup. Last year, you went from Josh Donaldson, and now you got like. Sure, they had Josh Donaldson in that lineup, and he was.
There's no out.
No, there's no out. Like I said, I'm like I said, I'm a diehard Mets fan, but I'm also one of the biggest. I'm a big baseball fan, and as a baseball fan, I have to say the Yankees they look really good, especially the lineup. It's definitely you got a Volpe who's coming off a rookie year. He's more developed, and he's having a great hitting streak, right? 20 games.
20 games,
and you know what's crazy, Dennis? You know what's crazy? They don't even have Garrett Cole right now.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
They're just dominating, and they don't even have their best pitcher.
And they just got
Holmes has had some shaky outings.
Yeah.
They had to send down Ronnie Mauricio. Like they're not at like the way. Yeah, the Ron Marinaccio. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say,
who is like one of their better bullpen guys, but he had options, so they said, "All right, we'll send him down, and we'll just figure stuff out later on."
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's weird. Like, this is gonna sound so crazy to people, man, but it's not almost not even fun watching their games. You know they're gonna win.
You never know. They're definitely more of a complete team. Like they actually got good players. They got good, I mean, like I said, they got the good players. Like you said, Verdugo, and especially when he's coming over from Boston, it's crazy. Who would have thought he would have been a Yankee? I don't know why Red Sox would have ever made a trade with the Yankees like that. Maybe they got Stroman, he's a decent pitcher. Luis Gill, he's coming out of nowhere. He's turning out to be a stud. So I give the Yankees. I got to give the Yankees credit. I got to give they look like a good base. They look like not just a good team. They look like a great baseball team right now. I can't defend the Mets right now because the Mets have been utterly not. They have not been a good baseball team. It has not been fun watching the Mets right now. It is, there's nothing even to go on, and we're going to go on there for a second. But the Yankees, no, just so like I said, I got to give the credit where the credit's due. The Yankees look like a great baseball team right now, and so we'll see what they do from the rest of there. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, Luis Gil was supposed to be like our fifth pitcher. We'll see what we have in him, and if we have to send him down and like play around with that fifth spot before Garrett Cole comes back, then so be it. And no big deal. 6-1 with a 2.11 ERA.
That's great.
70 strikeouts. He's probably going to get Cy Young votes.
Yeah, how do you not keep him in the rotation?
Yeah. He's leading the league in hits per 9, 4.4. It doesn't even make sense. He's given up 27 hits this year in 10 games. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Now, taking a look at it in a broader context, they are not the number one team in baseball. That honor goes to the Phillies, and by winning percentage, the Cleveland Guardians are also ahead of them. By point differential, the Yankees are first and plus 91, ahead of the Phillies at 88 and 77 with the Guardians. Royals in fourth, 76. Dodgers fifth, 75.
Yeah. The Phillies, that's all. They look like that team looks insane too as well. It's crazy.
They've lost 3 straight games for the first time, or got swept for the first time since September of last season. The Phillies. So who knows if they're just kind of cooling off a little bit. You never know. But we've put a beating on Cleveland pretty consistently over the last couple of years. I'm not worried about the Royals. I'm not worried about the Phillies.
Okay.
Right now, I think the Yankees have to be the prohibitive favorite to win the World Series.
Really? Okay. I'm not going to say that, but I mean, because you never know. Anything
right now.
Yeah, anything could happen over the next period of time. Yeah.
I can't wait for the 7th through the 9th. They're playing the Dodgers at Yankee Stadium. I might look at the tickets. Sunday Night Baseball. Why not?
I wouldn't mind coming. Hopefully, if I can weight bear, I can. Hopefully, I can be able to walk.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I didn't even consider asking you just because I knew your foot. But if you could, yeah, that'd be awesome.
When is that? July?
June 9th.
Maybe.
And that's going to be a big test. That's going to be a really big test. But
that should be fun. What team is this against? Braves?
The Dodgers.
Dodgers. Oh yeah. That should be interesting. Looking at the National League, I feel like the Phillies. Just looking now, I feel like they're definitely going to run away with the East. Just right now, it sucks for the Braves right now. What happened? They just lost Ronald Acuna. I believe he tore his left. He tore one of the ACLs. He tore the right, I think, in 21, and then this year he tore his left.
Yeah, this is just really bad luck.
Yeah, I mean, luckily he was able to recover pretty quickly from, in 22. They said, Gary Cohn said it the other day that he was recovering still when he was playing in 22, and he still played a pretty decent year, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, he's Ronald Acuna Jr. In 2022, he was still pretty good. 266 batting average, 15 home runs, 50 RBIs, 112 OPS plus. So it was definitely not what he had been in the past. But yeah, when he's working his way back from a torn ACL, you'll live with it. Last year, he was off the walls.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
73 stolen bases, 169 OPS plus, 217 hits, 41 home runs, 106 RBIs. I mean, he almost won the Triple Crown. Led the league in hits, 41 home runs, 106 RBIs, 73 stolen bases, OPS plus, OPS. Ridiculous. And this year, he wasn't as good. He was a lot worse. Didn't have a 337 batting average. He had a 350. Crazy that a 337 batting average wasn't the highest last year. 4 home runs, 15 RBIs. I don't know, man. Like I don't want to try to spin it, but hopefully he gets well soon. Who knows? Maybe he was playing through something, and that's why those stats weren't so good, and they just gave out.
It's
you never know.
No, you never do know, and it sucks. I mean, it sucks he didn't qualify for the World Series for when they Braves won the World Series back in 21. He's just a phenomenal player. He's just great, and hopefully, his brother Luis Angel Acuna. The Mets are hoping that he's just like him. That's what they're hoping. You never know. So hopefully he recovers. Like I said, it's crazy. He's going to have both ACLs prepared. That's insane. Baseball, it takes a lot on the body. So it's sports in general. So I feel like he's definitely going through it. And so hopefully speedy recovery for Ronald Acuna. You never want that to happen. Last year he had an MVP type season. Him with Matt Olson. And like I said, I wish a speedy recovery for the guy because you never want to see anything like this happen. I wonder how it's going to affect them. Back in 21 when he injured the other ACL, they still won the World Series. But you like to see how it happens. You like to see how the Braves fare. It's going to be interesting. Will history repeat itself? I'm not going to say that, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see.
And they've had some injuries, man. Austin Riley just got off the IL. Spencer Strider is obviously out for the season now.
Yeah, they're struggling this year. They're not.
Is out. And I mean, they are struggling in air quotes because of injuries and whatnot. They're not leading the division. They still have 31 wins and 21 losses. 596 winning percentage.
Right, like
46
they're not struggling, but they're not.
Yeah, just
they're not. Like everyone has
not running away with the division the way we thought. And listen, man, I'll be the first one to say it. I was a little bummed out that I predicted a lot of these winners, these division winners. I thought it would be the Tigers coming out of the Central. Fine. I picked the Phillies. I picked the Brewers. So that's a little bit of a bum. But I'm mad. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm mad that I was right for wrong reasons.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That Spencer Strider got hurt, Ronald Acuna got hurt, Austin Riley was hurt. So
yeah, it just happens. But like I said, hopefully speedy recoveries. But I want to definitely talk about my Mets for a little bit. It's not been good. I mean,
I'll mute myself. Go off, but
thank you. It's been I don't know about how there's like I said, there's iPads getting broken, there's coolers getting broken, I don't get it. I think what shocked me the most, I remember last Friday I was watching the Mets Giants. They're up 6-2. Great game Friday night. JD Martinez, Mark Viance. Mark Viance has been looking good, which I will explain that in a minute. I don't get how it's 6-2. I don't know how you give up a 6-2 lead and now it's 7-6. I remember I was watching the Ranger Panther game. I think that was the game. And it was insane how, it was Rangers Panthers at the Garden. I was watching that because I seen it was 6-3. I'm like, I didn't like this. I had that good feeling. I'm like, hey, I knew they were going to blow it. I mean, I didn't know it, but I was shocked. I was surprised. I'm like, what is going on? And then I was 6-3. I'm like, I don't like this. And then I was flipping back to the game. Bases were loaded. Then I see Reed Garrett gave up the grand slam at 7-6. I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? I'm like, there's no way they actually just did this right now. Are you kidding? There's no way. And lo and behold, it did happen. And they almost came back from that game. Luckily, the game Sunday, Omar Narvaez, they came back 3-1, from a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the ninth. That was some good. They showed some heart, and luckily they won. But it's just been not good baseball for the Mets right now. I don't get it. What's going on? Come on, I don't understand it. But I mean, I'm not I'm not really big on Jeff McNeil right now. I would say he should get traded. He would be the odd man out in the infield. Brett Beatty, I don't understand with Brett Beatty. He was red hot. I was supporting him at the beginning of the year. I thought he looked great. He was hitting over 300. Now he's back to subpar 230. You know, defense has been average. I mean, who knows? I don't get it with the bullpen right now. The bullpen was a strength. It was like ERA was like 230. Now it's in May, late April, in May it's been like over 4, 9 blown leads. Edwin Diaz, I don't get it. He came in the game the other day. He blew the lead. I don't know. It's a lot, but like I said, they said this was not supposed to be the year for the Mets. Supposed to, and so I don't know what I don't know why I was giving myself any hope or any shock if anything was to happen. They said this wasn't going to be the year for the Mets, but I'm not going to call it quits yet. They're not that behind on the wild card. Let me take a look at the wild card standings if I can find it. Let me see. MLB wild card standings. Let's see. So currently in the AL, they got the Orioles, Royals, and Twins in the wild card if it had to stand. The Red Sox are only 2.5 games back. So right now the wild card leaders in the NL would be the Giants, the Padres, and the Braves. And the Mets are only 6 games back. Now this is, I guess, that's still not good. Not good. Like I said, they said this was not going to be the Mets year. Like even David Stearns even said it. Like, don't get any hopes up or anything. He even came out and said it. Like, hey, just don't be shocked, don't be surprised. Like David Stearns is new to the organization. He's trying to get a feel for the players, for the organization. And they said, like, don't expect anything this year. So they started off decent, but now it's kind of like tanking a little bit. But one positive note, like I said, the future is sort of bright. The future is bright for the Mets. I will say that. They got some great prospects in the minor league system, great outfielders, great infielders. Christian Scott's been okay. He's been decent. I'm excited. Hopefully Luis Angel Acuna comes up. He struggled a little bit in AAA. His first 30 games from SNY Mets, he was hitting 214. He had a 267 on base percentage and a 592 OPS. But in his last 18 games, he's been hitting 329, 372 on base percentage, and an 815 OPS. That's pretty good. And people were worried, but because he was struggling a bit, but now he's actually picking it up. So, and it sucks that Ronnie Mauricio got hurt, but hopefully he recovers and he comes back, and hopefully whenever his time frame out, he'll probably be in the big leagues. He was doing great with the Mets. Ronald Mauricio. Let's see. Give me a minute, Ronnie. And so, say they do end up trading Lindor, you could make the argument that you could fill him in. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with you guys.
It's tough. I mean,
the most dependable players on your roster have just been terrible. Lindor has been terrible. Diaz has been terrible. Diaz in 22, Diaz, you could turn the game off when he came in. You knew it was over. And like, listen, this just kind of happens. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know. Like, I think I'm confident he could get it back because he was bad once before for the Mets, and he was able to turn it around. Like, it's fine. Like, this is going to happen. So I wouldn't be completely like losing my mind over it. But it's just so indicative of like your season being derailed. And I know everybody's going to turn around and say, dude, like they're only a few games out of the wild card. I get it. And like they're succeeding despite losing Senga, who on paper was probably their second or third best player coming into the season. Like, I understand all of that, but it always sucks when you see a team doing well and you know that there's
they're better than what
higher
they should.
ceiling.
Yeah.
Than they're
For
reaching.
sure.
So if I was a Met fan, I would be pretty discouraged Courage, just courage. I think that's fitting.
I agree. It's kind of how I feel.
And JD Martinez, I think, has been good for you. DJ Stewart, I know he's a weird brand of baseball. Of analytics really like him. The eye test, I don't know if that's there for all Met fans. Certainly not fans less into the on base stuff. You know, Francisco Alvarez was hurt. You know, like you guys have had a bad break.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, has Pete Alonso missed a lot of time? Has McNeil missed a lot of time? Has Lindor missed a lot of time? Have any of those three been good?
Alonso's been doing better.
He's trending up, but I mean,
I know what you mean.
Month and a half, he was unplayably bad.
But like I said, I feel like
I'm not trying to sound like a hater. You guys, I've been saying it for a year now that you guys should re-sign him. But I'm just saying, like, it sucks that they need to rely on the DJ Stewarts and the JD Martinez guy, you know, and Drew Pearson and Tyler McGill, and I forget the name of the.
I like Tyler McGill. McGill had a decent start. He had a great
start.
Sean
Manaea,
yeah,
has had some brilliant starts for you guys. 3.16 ERA right now, only 3 wins. I don't know how that works, but I know 3.16 ERA is not what it used to be, but still. And Christian Scott, that's who I kept forgetting, has had some really good games for you guys. Right?
No,
he's had losses, but he's not bad.
No,
you know, there's potential there. So I think as a, you know, take it for what it's worth. It's a season where you guys are just growing. Harrison Bader has been a bright spot, I think. 275 batting average. I understand I lean a lot on the batting average, and people may not like that. But he's not striking out. He's getting walks. You know, he's being a factor. Maybe you flip him. Maybe you don't. Who knows? But yeah, man, you guys gotta turn it around.
No, I know.
If you're trying to make the playoffs. And if you're not trying to make the playoffs, I mean, so be it. But Brandon Nimmo, a player who's usually really consistent for you guys, a 215 batting average.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's uncharacteristically bad for someone who's otherwise pretty dependable.
I think one of the only positives for the Mets right now is the future. Because I feel like they have a future down there. You know, they need more future in terms of their pitching. Because I feel like they have a ton of future prospects for the batting, but when it comes to the pitching, Christian Scott's really the only player that you think of. And yeah, like I agree, it sucks we have to rely on the players like the DJ Stewart, the Sean Manaea. But Sean Manaea's been pretty good. And
yeah, I'm not trying to like say like those guys are bad. I just mean like, could you imagine if your stars were like clicking? You know?
Yeah.
Like, this is why you pay star money.
Yeah, and you know, with Luis Acuna, he could be a shortstop, or he can be in second base, or he can be in center field. I think it would be cool if they can plug him in center field, and then you have maybe Nimmo go to right, or keep him at left, or Nimmo could be anywhere. I feel like, or you know what I mean.
Move on. You trade Bader.
Oh yeah, Bader. I like Bader.
I like him, but it is a retooling year. They said it is a retooling year, and I feel like Bader and JD Martinez and Sean Manaea, and especially with how well he's done, Luis Severino, are just Suicide Squad guys. You're brought in to do the job. Just do the job. You know, get good enough stats where I could trade you, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, he's looked good, Severino.
So,
I can't complain about him. He almost had a no-hitter, and it didn't happen. I like Mark Vientos. I feel like Mark Vientos has been definitely, in the 12 games he's played, he's been having a great game. So he could be an option at third base. Who knows? I mean, his average is 343 right now, but then that could dip to like 220. The way the Mets are, you know what I mean? It could dip, but it happened to Beatty. So, like I said,
especially a young guy like that, it stats are always volatile with young guys. It's okay.
My question is, it's going to be interesting what they do with Pete Alonso. It's that's what I'm more worried about. I love Pete Alonso. I wish they would find a way to build around him, but I don't know, the way they keep losing games. To me, it looks like he's going to get traded.
Yeah, you know, I almost brought it up last week, but then I didn't because I felt like I think both of us were just kind of getting sick of the whole Pete Alonso watch. But I don't know if you guys should move on from him specifically because who are you going to replace him with?
Yeah.
Paul Goldschmidt is getting up there in age and has been bad this season. And I'm not trying to hate on it. The guy's likely going to get Hall of Fame votes. I don't know if he's going to get in, but he's going to get votes. And a 228 batting average for that guy, that's just not the player he is, man. And it's dipped.
Yeah.
Last year's 268, which is already kind of showing signs of decline. He wasn't an all-star last year, despite playing all year. You know, I think Met fans are kind of looking at that as maybe a stopgap guy for them. Rhys Hoskins, do you bring in Rhys Hoskins?
He would never.
I don't know. He's a little older than Pete Alonso, and he's bad blood with your team, so probably
he would
not.
never. No, he would never be a Met.
Christian Walker is older, 33.2 years old. How good is Christian Walker? I'll look up his season. But kind of the point I'm trying to get at is even if you trade him and you tell him, listen, we're trading you, but we're also going to let you know, it's nothing against you. He's actually having a pretty decent year, Christian Walker. It's nothing against you, Pete Alonso, but we're trying to get assets. Kind of do what the Yankees did with the Aroldis Chapman when they traded him away for Gleyber Torres in 2016, then re-signed him. Something like that. I wouldn't be opposed to that as a Mets fan, just because I'm going down the list here, and Paul Goldschmidt, older than Pete Alonso. Cody Bellinger is younger, but he's probably going to get more money. He's going to opt out for $26.7 million. To sign for how much? Probably not much more than that. Anthony Rizzo, a club option. I don't know if the Yankees would use it on him. Rhys Hoskins, Josh Bell, Christian Walker is having a good season. Like I said, just why not? 267 batting average, 10 home runs, 33 RBIs, 137 OPS plus. The speed's not what it used to be. Or even then, I always thought he had more stolen bases than he actually did. He only has 24.
With Pete Alonso, yeah, no, I mean,
I'm talking about Christian Walker here.
Yeah, no, not
and 28 walks, not bad. But kind of the point I'm getting at is, I'm going down this list, and the only guy I could even see you entertaining, like, yeah, I'd take him over Pete Alonso, maybe, is Wilmer Flores, who's older than Pete Alonso and much cheaper than Pete Alonso would be, and is very dependable, could play just about every position. But I don't know. Is Wilmer Flores going to win you a ring? He's also been awful this season. And despite being very good last year.
Okay.
The Giants have actually been on the up lately. They're second in the NL West after they got called out by Logan Webb for being what did he say? We're playing like ass or something like that. So I think you guys got to re-sign him just because.
Like, who else
are you going to take? Even if you traded for a first baseman, what first baseman's available to take?
Especially, Pete Alonso, he's been on the team for 6 years. He's ready to break the home run. He's ready to be the franchise leader in home runs.
Yeah.
Like he's that close. And I love Alonso. But, I don't think he's someone I would drag the team. Granted, I don't know how he's been in the locker room. I'm more ready to give it to Lindor than I am Alonso.
Unless the only way I could see you guys, this is going to sound insane to people, and an hour in, those of you who are still listening your jaws are about to drop. Are about to drop for what I'm going to say, but I don't know. Blue Jays are 5th in their division, 4 games under 500. Do you break up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette? And did the Mets try to get in on Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
I feel like Steve Cohen will be up for that.
And you move off Alonso? But then what are you giving up? So, I honestly, I don't know the answer aside from you have to re-sign Alonso because you just don't have any other options. And I know nowadays people say you can just throw somebody at first base, and which is crazy to me when you think of Carlos Delgado wasn't just thrown at first base. Keith Hernandez wasn't just thrown at first base. Ed Kranepool wasn't just thrown at first base. He was a first baseman, right?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I don't see how the Mets can do that when you know the value of that position historically.
David Stearns, he said that he didn't want to trade Alonso at first because he didn't want to do what happened with Mookie Betts. Like what happened with Mookie Betts in Boston. I don't know if he was a part of that, but just
No,
seeing
he
how
wasn't.
that.
Hein Bloom. That was Hein Bloom.
But like he saw.
Hein Bloom didn't have a choice. They said they weren't going to pay the money for him. That was bad ownership.
He said that. Yeah. So, but
they're trying to sell the team around that time too.
But David Stearns said it that like he didn't want to make that same mistake that happened in Boston where you trade Mookie Betts and he becomes this star-studded player. He wants to try to give them a chance to see, and then they'll go from there.
Yeah, I would. If I'm David Stearns and Steve Cohen, I would sit Pete Alonso down and say, listen, we're going to try to get a deal done, but if you don't, would we at least be in play to get you in the offseason? Trade you now to get the assets. That way you could extend your career by being better, by being on a winning team later on.
I would love to.
I'm looking at the Phillies and I'm looking at the Braves, more so the Braves. And even the Nationals, 3 years, are you going to keep up with these guys? The ace of the Braves pitching rotation has been hurt all season long. They're still one of the best teams in the league. The reigning MVP is out, and their lineup still is a Death Star. I don't know, man.
No, I know. It's it'll be interesting. What I would hope they would do, yeah, I mean, if they could trade him and then if they could get him in the offseason, that'd be great. I think that's going to be tough because I mean, if you're going to trade him,
I don't know if you'd hold it against you.
If you got to trade him to a team, you got to hope that team's in contention for a World Series, and that they're not just gonna. Because I feel like it'd be bad on Alonso. Like you trade so much for a guy and then he doesn't re-sign with you. It's a big risk. It's the same thing with the Yankees and Soto. You guys traded all that for Soto, and it's still a possibility he doesn't resign. You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of a team that would take him. And
people keep saying he's going to be a Cub. People saying Brewers. I don't know why people keep mentioning those teams.
I don't understand why he'd be a Cub. Because Cody Bellinger's had a history of injuries. You know he's not going to be playing in the outfield forever. So that's just not going to happen. I could see if you guys are trading him going to the Giants because they're going to think they could extend him. They've missed out on Carlos Correa. They missed out on Aaron Judge. They got stuck with Blake Snell with how bad he's been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've tried to make these big splashes. There's a plethora of other players. They tried to extend Chris Bryant. There's a lot of players they've tried to get and they couldn't get. And I think they're going to at least entertain getting Pete Alonso.
Yeah, like I said, it all depends about the prospects and the return. But in my opinion, I would love to have Alonso stay as a Met and hopefully finish out his career as a Met. We'll see. I mean, it all depends. I mean, because the Mets are still they're still rebuilding kind of, and they got the pieces. My opinion, I would want Alonso to be a part of that,
Yeah, I'm just trying to spitball ideas.
Yeah, no.
I'm thinking of it as like if I'm the front office of the Mets, and the reason we've spent so much time on this season, just because I think it's so interesting. Because there's potential with the roster, right? But you look at their division; it's loaded. I don't think they're the worst team in the National League. I think there's teams that they're better than. I think the Cardinals are going to flame out at some point. I think that there's going to be teams that are also going to be sellers.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen with them, but it's a weird moment in their team's history because you have Steve Cohen trying to put together a winner, trying hard in a sport that does not have too many teams that try this hard, put together a winner. And then fail, and now what? And it reminds me, it's funny, I'm wearing the shirt. It reminds me a lot of the Phoenix Suns right now.
Yeah.
Of bringing Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal and Chris Paul and, and it's just not working out the way they thought. And now what? So I think the easiest answer is trade Pete Alonso and try the easiest answer and try to extend him or re-sign him in the offseason and just tell him, listen, man, it's a business and don't take it personally. This is just because you're one of our better players and we want to have a winner for longer. I think he's a competitive guy. I think he's an understanding guy, and maybe he'll go for it and won't hold it against you too much. Maybe he will. I don't know. And I think Jeff McNeil's got to go. I said this last year.
I agree. I've said it. He's I don't know.
It's just, at the end, the music is going to stop and someone's not going to have a chair. And it's going to be him. He's not having a good season the way he did. This is now his second down year in a row. And he was always kind of an every other season guy. Well, dating back to 2020. 21, he was pretty bad. 22, he was phenomenal. 23, he was back to around average. Now he's worse.
And like I said, I feel like the Mets, they have a lot of prospects. They have so many infielders in.
It's just,
he's the odd man out. Because like when Mauricio comes back, he's probably going to go to third base. He might go to second. He could go to second if he wanted to.
When he comes back,
they were going to try to have Mauricio play third, but he really is more of a second baseman. So, and then they got Acuna who could play second. They got Jet Williams, who he's hurt right now, but that was the next Met that was probably going to come up. What are you going to say?
Unless you get a better deal. If I'm the Mets, you hear offers on Starling Marte and on Jeff McNeil. You keep whichever one gets a worse offer. And then you just put Jeff McNeil in that spot and you trade him in the offseason. Or if he's the one that has the better offer, you trade him and then you get rid of Marte in the offseason or whatever. You just do it that way. Because you're right. Because you also have Brett Beatty still. Who's, okay, maybe he's not the next David Wright, but I mean, okay, fine. You can only have one borderline Hall of Famer on your roster sometimes. Move on,
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. He's not the best, but are you, Austin Riley's and David Wright's and George Brett's don't grow on trees. So move on.
Yeah.
You're going to have a guy that's average. This happens.
But we'll see with the Mets. And that's really it. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Or
I'll check to see because there are games on right now. I'll see if there's any like breaking news. And there is. Padres relief pitcher Jeremiah Estrada had 13 straight strikeouts.
Really? That's insane.
Yeah, all 13 strikeouts have been by swinging. What? Hold on, there might be more to this. Okay. That's what I thought.
What?
It's 13 straight strikeouts, which is awesome. But it's not in one game. It's in 3 different outings, which is still crazy. I'll give it to him. Like, that's nuts. That might be even harder to do than all in one game, but it's not in one outing. I was going to say, like, man, he broke Tom Seaver's record, but he didn't. I mean, not bad. Not bad. 5 against the Reds, 5 against the Yankees, 3 against the Marlins. Not bad. 25 years old. Oh, my gosh. He's wearing a Cubs hat in his picture on ESPN.com. So he clearly a journeyman.
Yeah.
He was oh my God. Waived by the Cubs just more than a month ago. He was in AAA. Oh.
Really? That's insane.
What do you think? You think they'll have that? They want that one back?
I would think so.
Yeah. I know. What a hot take.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
So
right.
congratulations to you, Jeremiah. You are
Congratulations.
red hot.
But right.
All right. I think that does it for me. I don't have anything else.
I'm all good. We thank you for joining us in another edition of Battin and Chattin. For my co-host Denis Tuohy and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time.